we have Major Mohommed Ali Shah live with us on the broadcast. A very good morning to you, sir, and thank you for joining with us today. Now, of course, the CCLA, this is after Trudeau now imposed an emergency. The CCLA has initiated legal charges against Trudeau's government. Now, what do you think about the emergency that has been imposed in Canada?
Oh well, certainly anywhere where emergency is imposed, it's not a good sign. I mean, the world comes to a standstill for anyone. So it can be like, I'll give you an example of when Indira Gandhi had imposed emergency in India. At that time also we had actually undergone a very difficult time as well. So certainly this emergency, and I would like to say it in a very generic way so that people should actually not really get demoralized, but should keep their spirits up by saying this too shall pass. That is the way I would like to say yes, and it is a matter of concern for the entire world. There's no, and for Canada per se especially. But yes, at the end of the day, I'm sure it's all going to be resolved very soon.
Great, sir. And also, what do you have to your thoughts on the CCLA now initiating legal charges against Trudeau's government? Your thoughts?
Oh well, it's going to be a wait-and-see situation, because anywhere where there are legal charges involved, ultimately the law will take its own course, and ultimately yes, it's not a very healthy and a good sign. But yes, it would be under prejudice, it would be under sub judice, and law will take its own course. But yes, there are certain things, like for example, if I am working with a certain employee, for example, I'm giving an example, I'm quoting this analogy. It will be unfair if I actually thereafter come and take legal charges. But yes, I am well within my right. But at the end of the day, anywhere legal action is not really, it's not a very healthy sign, I would say that much.
Yes, sir, and also, what do you think, as to how the global community should react to this emergency that has been imposed? Because of course, as mentioned, that this emergency should have been imposed in terms of something that is seriously threatening the ability of the government of Canada. Now, this is also to preserve the sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity of Canada. So, how do you think that the global community should be reacting to this?
Oh well, the global community over here, unfortunately, they cannot do much. They can only give their comments, they can give their views, and somebody will be for, somebody will be against, somebody will decide to keep shut and not get involved. Because unlike the 29 members of the NATO alliance, this is not, they are not concerned with it. But yes, they would be concerned with it in generic, overall, in the overall international view. So yes, the international community are welcome to give their statement and their comments, but let me tell you, India has always given a very balanced and a very mature stand. I can give you example of Russia for that matter. The Russian embassy in New Delhi has welcomed India's stand on Russia and Ukraine crisis. So yes, this is an example I've given you. So I think everyone is entitled to their opinion. Ultimately, it is going to be the people and the person involved who will ultimately take the decisions and who will handle the crisis on their own.
Right, sir, and your thoughts on the truckers' protests that have been going on, because despite the emergency that has been imposed now in the country, with the truckers are not backing down, and they are still continuing. They are still persistent on continuing their protests. Now, your thoughts on the whole protests that have been going on?
Oh well, protests are something which are actually a fundamental right of every citizen everywhere, provided the protests are peaceful. It happens everywhere actually. You can say it happens in India, it has happened in Balochistan, in Pakistan, it's happened in Canada, it's happened in various other countries. But yes, as long as they are peaceful and as long as the protests, something is resolved from it, something comes out of it. Because it's not always necessary that you have to be on the same page as the government or as, so which is okay, fine. But then there is a way of protesting, like the in Pakistan also there have been protests where people do not, in Balochistan, in the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, that area, they do not get drinking water. So they have been protesting against Imran Khan for months. But yes, the Imran Khan's government is totally deaf. They do not really pay any heed over there. Here, hopefully, these protests should be resolved soon, and something should come out of it. A solution should be found very, very soon, because though it is a healthy sign, you can protest peacefully, but ultimately it does not speak very well when you have people disgruntled, dissatisfied, and they are protesting.
Right, and of course, as you mentioned that protests, as long as protests are peaceful, they happen everywhere, and the protests are okay. So do you think that there was actually a need for this emergency at this point of time when the truckers are protesting?
Well, it could have been avoided. It could have been done away with. It's not necessary that you have to declare an emergency when there is a protest taking place. You can handle it in other ways as well. But yes, that is their way of looking at it, and yes, we have to just wait and see that, I hope that a solution comes out of it after having declared that emergency because of the protesters.
Alright, e-commerce sites operated by China's Tencent Holdings and Alibaba Group Holding were added to the US government's latest notorious markets list, the US Trade Representative's official said on Thursday. Now, the list identifies 42 online markets and 35 physical markets that are reported to engage in or facilitate substantial trademark counterfeiting or copyright piracy. Now, the China-based online markets Baidu Wangpan, DHgate, Pinduoduo and Taobao also continue to be a part of the list, along with 9 physical markets located within China that are known for the manufacture, distribution and sale of counterfeit goods. Now, this is what the USTR office has said, and China does not agree with the US government's decision to include some e-commerce sites in its notorious market list, calling the action irresponsible. Now, the Chinese Ministry of Commerce has said that they mentioned that they call this action irresponsible. We still have Major Mohommed Ali Shah live with us on the broadcast. Sir, now, what do you think about the US listing these certain China's trade markets in the notorious markets list? What do you think about that?
Well, we all know, the whole global community knows that China is a very big threat and a very big bully to the international community. Look what's happening around the whole world. The coronavirus, they are playing biological warfare, psychological warfare, information warfare, cyber warfare. On 19 June 2020 was one of the largest attacks that China had attacked Australian servers, and their Prime Minister, Mr. Morrison, was very, very magnanimous, not to name the nation, it was China, but he said he issued an advisory that please change your passwords. And also at the Russian Stock Exchange, when we invest money over there, we do not realize that money is ultimately coming over into China, and that money is used for Chinese military, and that money we have invested for China to hit us. I mean, it is like, that is the whole science, and it all goes around. Now, when US actually lists this, so I think it is something, see, at the end of the day, everyone is going to look at their own profit, their own matlab, how they will benefit out of it. Everyone is first going to look at their own self-interest. Only then thereafter they will look after, they will see the other interest of everyone else. So I think the only way to hit back at China, only way to, see, if we do not try, we will not get there. But if we try, we might get there. So I think China, the only way to hit the dragon is to hit it where it hurts the most, to hit it hard at the economy. So my advice to everyone over here, it's not as simple as breaking a television set which writes made in China. No, it's about affecting them globally through economy. And when US also comes forward and lists them, so I think no one should actually, firstly, no one should promote China in the first place. So that is my take on it. China should not be promoted in any which manner.
Alright, so thank you for joining with us on the broadcast and for inputs.